Music has a special way of touching our hearts in ways many things cannot. And if you're tuning into this podcast, you probably think so too. On each episode of Classical Post, we uncover a creative mind behind music we find particularly exceptional. Coming to you from New York, Classical Post is created and produced by Gold Sound Media, a marketing and PR agency for the performing arts industry. I'm your host, Jonathan Eifert, creative director at Gold Sound Media, and I hope you find something inspiring in this episode.
Yeah, right. So I'm Asbjørn Nørgaard. I'm the viola player of the Danish string quartet. This is my voice.
And this voice belongs to Frederik Øland. I play the violin.
Share a story behind one of your most significant performances. So just kind of when you think about your career at large, performing with the Danish string quartet.
Well, that's a very good question. It's actually not a question that we're asked very often. But there is one story that comes to mind. That was during a summer tour a couple of years ago in the States. And we were doing a very intense tour, very busy, concerts every day, travel every day. And we were in Colorado playing a concert in the evening. We go back we have a little, very nice little cabin almost in the woods. And we go to bed quite late, and then we have a pickup at 2:30 in the morning. We go to the airport. We almost miss our flight. We have 2 flights, travel to Tanglewood, this big, wonderful summer festival. And haven't slept. We're super tired, and it's a difficult program. We do the dress rehearsal, and we go out and get into our concert attire. And 5 minutes before we go on stage, there's a knock on the door, and we open it, and in comes Yo-Yo Ma. And he says, "Hey guys, just want to say I'm looking forward to the concert." That was from that point on, we were pretty fresh again, I'd say.
I love that story. Here's another question. Discuss a pivotal moment in your career and how it influenced your musical direction.
Oh, that's a good question. We have, when you look back at your career, I think people have the idea that a career in music is very linear, very logical. But actually, it's quite messy. You jump from one point to the other. And of course, we had some pivotal points here and there. For us, it's probably been maybe the London String Quartet competition. That was sort of the first time we had success in an international competition. We were just joined by our Norwegian cellist a month before. Didn't expect too much. And we were lucky enough to actually win this competition. I have a memory from being on the stage. We are in Wigmore Hall in these competitions. They put all the quartets up on the stage in the end, like horses in a horse race, and then they sort of announce who became number 3 and who became number 2. And I remember we were up there, and I was like standing behind Rune, sort of. And then when they announced us as the winner, Rune turned around. And he didn't say anything. He just did like a crazy movement with his hands around his head, like it was exploding or something. And I have a memory of this image sort of is really deeply ingrained in my mind. And this moment, this competition, it really meant a lot to us because, first of all, of course, we got a lot of invitations and all of that. But we also, in our own perception, we started to perceive ourselves as a grown-up quartet, and we had to sort of behave that way. So I think it had a huge impact in the way we worked, in the way we performed, and the way we simply spent time together.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. And now let's talk about the album. Congrats on the upcoming album, Keel Road. Really curious to hear how this all came to be and what it's all about.
So this is the 3rd album we recorded in this sort of, that is anchored in the traditional music of Northern Europe. We did Woodworks before and Last Leaf 5 years ago, and now we have this new album, Keel Road. And I mean, it's basically comes out of a love of the traditional music. Rune, one of the violins, grew up mostly playing folk music and later getting a classical training. Frederik, our Norwegian cellist, is also from a family that is deeply invested in folk music. So it's music that we've been around, that we've listened to, and eventually this music started to creep into the string quartet. This newest album, it's sort of it's moving a little bit to the west, you might say. Up until now, we've mostly focused on the traditional music from Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. And now we're looking a little bit at the British Isles, the North Atlantic Isles. And I think it's a very natural development. Back then, the oceans were the highways of that era. The easiest way to travel was on a boat. So if you are on the west coast of Denmark, it would have been almost faster getting to England than it would to get to Copenhagen. So the music is very closely related, is very connected. You find the same melodies in England that you would find in Denmark. So we tried to create an album that is sort of remaking this journey. It's a journey around the North Sea to all this different music from all over the place. That is indeed different traditions, local traditions, but it's all very connected. And I think that will be sort of obvious on this album. This is music that is authentic to us to perform. It's music from our part of the world, and this is just our take on it as a classical string quartet. We are not traditional musicians, but we do our take on it, and we hope that it's something that the world will enjoy to be shared.
Amazing. Yeah, I was just listening to, I know it's just private links that I was listening to for press only. And from what I heard, it sounds amazing. So I'm really looking forward to hearing the full album.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much.
So tell us how you want to be remembered in the world of classical music. So when you think about legacy, any thoughts on that?
You're really asking some great questions. It's how do you meet? What's your favorite composer? No, these questions are great. Wow. I don't know. I think that might change depending on which day you ask us, or which one of you ask, or what kind of weather it is. The thing with us is that when we started off playing quartet, we actually we had no thoughts of becoming a professional quartet. We were just four friends that wanted to hang out, and we had our interest in music. That was a common interest. So we've actually never been very good at setting goals or ambitions. We try sometimes. I think we've become better at it. But this kind of thinking about where are we at in 10 years, we're not as good as that as we are at just enjoying the moment we're in. We do a lot of projects and plan ahead, but I think that's how we feel and think generally. What I think though would be great is because there's so many good string quartets out there, and there's so many good string quartets that play Beethoven and Haydn and Mozart and Shostakovich and Bartok, all this stuff, and it's hard to compete with, and I'm not sure we want to, but this kind of journey that we're on with the mix between the classical stuff, the folk music stuff, the kind of weird programming that we do sometimes. Recently, we did a big concert with the girls' choir of the Danish radio. I think what would be a good way to be remembered is that we showed that there's many different ways to use a string quartet, and a string quartet can be many different things, and it can basically be whatever you want it to be, and it can fit into a living room with 50 people, and it can fit into a big concert hall with 1,000 people. It all depends on what you do to it and with it. And I think that's a really, really lovely thing, actually. It means that playing in a string quartet, you have, if you grab it, then you have absolute freedom to do pretty much whatever you want. A thing we've always been good at, I think, is following our instincts and following our gut feelings. And sometimes you get into an alley and you need to find your way back out, but most of the time that'll take you good places. And now we do so many different things with the quartet, and we all really enjoy that. So that was a long answer. I'm sorry, but that's pretty much how we feel, I think.
No, it's an excellent answer. Let's pause for a second. Are you an artist or work at an arts organization? I founded Gold Sound Media to help you expand your audience through social media. My team and I work closely with clients around the United States, directly shaping their messaging through customized, strategic content. One of our biggest success stories is our work for the Cliburn, where we drove 25 million viewers, making it one of the most watched classical music events of all time. Get in touch to speak with me directly about how Gold Sound Media can help you. Just head to goldsoundmedia.com. Now, back to the show. Last question, or it's kind of a question and statement. I saw you guys perform once about 2 years ago at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Westport, Connecticut. Milka Westport, they call it. And I remember being so moved by the performance because obviously you guys play at these massive concert halls and prestigious ones like Carnegie Hall. And yet here you were in this small town of Westport performing, and it was just the most intimate recital. And yet you played with such passion and energy, and it was such a vibrant performance. I mean, it really was incredible. And I guess I'm curious how you approach playing for audiences, that it's not just a big crowd. It seems like, you might bring that same passion to even the most smallest crowd out there. So I don't know. Can you speak to that kind of passion with the audience?
It's interesting. Like right now we are also on a US tour, obviously. And we started out in some big halls in big cities with skyscrapers and all that stuff. That's when you come from Denmark, that's like, wow, that's really cool. Such a big city, so many people. And then yesterday we played in a tiny college town, Lafayette University, and we just enjoyed it so much. I mean, it felt so comfortable. So to be frank, of course we love the big fancy halls, and it is good for your personal vanity or something. But often I think we are more comfortable in a space like the one you described. And also the music that we are playing, it's acoustic music. It's written for old wooden instruments. I mean, they're built to project well in that sort of space. Of course, we can make it work in bigger halls, and we do our best. But often those smaller halls are ideal for a string quartet. So yeah, I for our group, like that's often when we feel best, I think. And I have a secret feeling that might apply to many string players all over the world. We like the big halls; they're cool and everything, but obviously it's better to play in an acoustic perfect space where you can feel the audience and that you can feel that it's a special moment that you're creating. Thank you for listening to this episode of Classical Post. If you loved it, give us a 5-star review as it helps us reach more people. Also, remember to hit that follow button in your podcast app to get notified of new episodes.